Hello and welcome to Workout Wednesday for Power BI 2024 week 45. This week we're making a bump chart to show the changes in the world's biggest economies over time. The visual was inspired by this chart from Statista Charts on Voronoi app. That is a similar bump chart. We just did the styling and colors a little differently in Power BI. This is also where the data comes from. If you scroll down, you'll see the data set at the bottom of the page. So let's get started. I'm going to get data from web. Go to that URL. Choose anonymous authentication. And when it opens up, there's only one HTML table, and that is the correct table containing our data. If you notice, this data is formatted in a not entirely useful way here. There's a ranking, then the country order for 1993, the related nominal GDP, then the country order for 2008 and related GDP, and then 2023 and related GDP. There are probably a few ways we could do this, but I'm going to keep it simple, and because this data is really small, this works out just fine. So I've renamed my original query to 1993. And the first thing I'll notice is I need to promote my headers. And then here I can go ahead and duplicate this. I only need the 1993 column and the related nominal GDP. I'm going to remove other columns. This one's going to be 2008. So I'm going to keep that year column and its related nominal GDP column. And this one will be 2023. And I'll do the same here. So now that I have filtered those, I need to make a couple of adjustments. I'm going to add a custom column to each one. That is year, make it a number, this one's going to be 2008. And this one will be 2023. And so I'm going to append these, but before I append, I need to make sure my columns are named the same. So I started with 1993 nominal GDP and year. I need to change this to country. This one will also be country. And this needs to be nominal GDP. Same here. And then I can append my queries. And I'm going to append them as new. And put all three tables together. So now I have three columns. There's one inconsistency in the data where sometimes the data says United Kingdom, and sometimes it says UK. So I'm just going to make that consistent. And then because I'm going to color by continent, I need to add a custom column. And it's just going to be a conditional column. You can write out the if yourself. Or you can choose conditional column. So I'm going to call this continent. And it's just going to reference the country. So I need to add each distinct country value in here. And I'm just matching their continents where they grouped North and South America together. So it is Americas. Okay. And it's just going to be null if it doesn't match that. We shouldn't have any nulls. There's no empties there. That's good. And then I do not need these original tables. I will name this one country GDP. And I'll let that refresh. I used a ribbon chart to do this. And that's going to require a couple of DAX measures. The first is me ranking the countries by GDP. So I'm going to rank X all selected countries based on their nominal GDP. And then I want, because it's a bump chart and not a real ribbon chart, I want my segments to be basically the same size. So I cheated just a little bit, but no one's going to notice, basically. So I made a DAX measure called ribbon size, and I said that it is 1 plus GDP rank times 0.01. So yes, there's technically a difference in the boxes we'll see at the end, but it is basically imperceptible to most people. So no one's going to care. You could do this even more and say like 0.001. It doesn't really matter. We just need the sizes to be different from each other. So there's my ribbon size. Now, when I populate my chart, I will add my ribbon chart. We'll kind of get it roughly in place there. We'll put year in the x-axis, ribbon size in the y, country in the legend, and we'll start from there. So I need to do a lot of formatting. The first thing is I don't want a continuous axis. I want categorical. So I just have the 3 years shown. Then I'm going to make the years a lot bigger and turn off my title. And then on the y-axis, I'm going to turn off both values and title because it's kind of irrelevant. We don't want people to see my ranking of 1 to 10 or whatever. And I'm going to turn off the legend because right now the legend is showing country, but we're going to change those colors to match the continent. There is no conditional formatting on the color of the ribbon. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to update my theme to make this just a little easier. I chose colors that were distinct enough to be colorblind friendly when I ran them through the Adobe Color tool as well as a colorblind simulator. And there's really only 3 colors in here that I'm using because of the 3 continents. I didn't want them to be too dark because I'm going to have text over them. And then I'm going to make my background transparent. Okay, that will make assigning colors a bit easier. So we just go through these, and America's is going to be blue. Asia will be orange. Europe will be green. Oh, wait, I think I assigned the wrong color there. Europe is green. Oh, and also, I forgot, I'm inverting my y-axis. So right now, the bottom one is rank number 1. So I need to invert my range. And then we'll check and see how we're doing. United States is blue. UK is green. Spain should be green. Russia, Japan are orange. Italy should be, green. India's orange. Germany is green. France is green. China is orange. Canada is blue. And Brazil is blue. All right, those are all set. So now the United States is at the top, Japan, Germany, and so on. Time to add data labels. But we need to change our data labels. We don't want the ribbon size. We want the country name. And we want it to be dark text because I chose colors on the lighter side. So I'm going to make my text much bigger. I'm going to change my column size. So if we go back to columns, we leave our series on all and we go to layout, we have some options. I'm going to make the space between categories less. So change it from 60 to 40%, and I'm adding a little bit of a space between the series. Just 5 pixels. So that gives us our bump chart. I'm going to move this over for a bit. I'm going to turn off the title first. And I'm just going to say world's biggest economies over time, but I'm turning it off. This helps us with screen reader usability because it'll still read the title even when it's hidden. Notice when I turn the title back on, it kept my text. I'm going to insert a text box to add for my legend. I'm going to make it much smaller, about like that. I just did this the simple way. And I'm using a Unicode character here, just a large filled circle. And then I will format this. So first, let's make the dots size 16. So they're quite large and easier to see. And then we'll do colors. So America's is blue, and I'll make the dot exactly the same color as what's used in the ribbon chart. But I'm going to make my text the darkest version in the palette of that color. so that it is legible on the white background. Asia is orange, and I'll make the text dark orange. Europe is green, and I'll make the text dark green. These can be a little bigger. Let's make them 14. There we go. I'm just getting my legend and my chart lined up here. About right there is good. And then I need an additional text box for my title, and I'm going to say the world's biggest economies over time, countries with the highest GDP on Earth, 1993, 2008, and 2023. We'll do 24. This one can be 16. We'll add one final text box. And this is going to link back to Workout Wednesday. And there we go. So that makes this page, but when we hover over it, we don't really want to see our ribbon size. It's just not meaningful to the report consumer. So we're going to make a tooltip page. So this is our main page. This is our tooltip. We'll change our canvas setting to tooltip. Actually, I think I did custom because tooltip was a little too tall. But if you change to tooltip first and then you do custom, you can get the smaller size to start with. If I zoom in here, I'm just going to do a plain text box. And I will add some dynamic values here. So this one will be country. Oh, I guess I did use the continent column in my hover. This one will be continent. We're going to put the year. And then we'll format our GDP. So we'll let the country name be slightly bigger. And then these can be 12. So when we zoom out, it'll look like that. Hide this page. And then we'll assign our tooltip report there. So when I hover, I will see the correct country, the year, and the GDP related to that ranking. And that's it for this week's Workout Wednesday for Power BI. Thanks for joining us.